At my own daughter's wedding, her husband handed me an empty champagne glass and said, "Go get me a refill, waiter." He didn't know who I was. He didn't know that the waiter he just insulted was the man who built the very hotel they were standing in, and that I could make a single phone call and end his entire career before the cake was even cut. But I didn't say a word. Not yet. My name is Robert Hawley. I'm 68 years old. I've lived a life of building empires and losing people. I gave my entire soul to my only daughter, Emily. I raised her alone after her mother died when she was 10. I worked late nights, skipped meals, and missed vacations, all so she could have the life her mother dreamed for her. And today, her wedding day should have been the proudest moment of my life. The ballroom was dripping with gold, literally. Chandeliers sparkled like frozen fireworks. Every table dressed in ivory silk. And the air smelled faintly of roses and money. I stood in the corner just watching her, my little girl in a white lace gown, laughing with guests. My heart swelled until he walked over. Daniel, the groom, a young man with a smile too sharp to be kind. He shoved an empty champagne flute into my hand without looking me in the eye. "More bubbly, old man, and make it quick." For a second, I thought it was a joke. But when he turned away without waiting for an answer, I felt something cold settle in my chest. Guests nearby chuckled awkwardly, whispering. I carried the glass to the bar, not because I was his waiter, but because I wanted to see how far this humiliation would go. When I returned, I overheard him talking to his friends. Emily's dad? Oh, he's just some washed-up nobody. Doesn't even own a suit that fits. They laughed, and I stood there, holding the glass, my knuckles white. He didn't know, but he was about to. The reception rolled on. Emily barely glanced my way. She was glowing, yes, but there was distance in her eyes. During dinner, Daniel clinked his glass for attention. "Before we eat," he said, "I just want to thank everyone who made this night possible. My family, my groomsmen, and, of course, my father-in-law, honorary server tonight." The room erupted in laughter. My ears burned. My daughter didn't laugh, but she didn't stop him either. I swallowed my pride. I had survived worse in my life, but then he crossed a line. "You know," Daniel smirked, "I told Emily I'd take care of her since, well, her dad clearly couldn't. Not in money, not in status. Guess she married up, huh?" Something inside me snapped. I leaned back, smiling faintly, saying nothing. Let them think they'd won. Because the truth? The very venue they were standing in, the Hawley Grand Ballroom, was mine. The catering company? Mine. The luxury hotel chain Daniel bragged about booking at a discount? Mine. And the $1 million contract his small startup had just signed last month? Also mine. Only he didn't know it. Yet. After dinner, I quietly pulled my longtime assistant, Claire, aside. "Make the call," I said. She understood instantly. 30 minutes later, Daniel was summoned outside. He returned pale, confused. His best man whispered something, and his expression collapsed like wet paper. I waited until the band stopped playing. Then I stood up. "Ladies and gentlemen," I said, my voice calm but carrying through the hall, "I think it's time you know who I am." Gasps rippled. Daniel shifted uncomfortably. "My name is Robert Hawley. I am the owner of this hotel, the founder of Hawley Enterprises, and the primary investor in Daniel's company." Silence. As of 10 minutes ago, that investment has been withdrawn. Effective immediately. Murmurs erupted. Daniel's face turned the color of spoiled milk. "You called me a nobody," I continued. "In front of my daughter, in front of my friends, in my own building. Today I was willing to let it go. But respect is not something you can buy. And you, Daniel, can't afford it." Emily's eyes brimmed with tears. She stood, torn between us. "Dad, she started. But I raised my hand. "I love you, Emily, more than my own life. But if you stand with him after this, know that you stand against me." Daniel reached for her hand. She pulled it away. "You humiliated my father," she whispered. "The man who raised me alone. The man who gave me everything. And you didn't even know who you were speaking to." She turned to me, voice shaking. "Dad, I'm so sorry." The wedding didn't end in dancing. It ended with Daniel storming out, his reputation ruined in one night. His company's phones went silent the next morning. As for Emily, she came home 2 weeks later, papers in hand. Divorce. We sat on the porch together, watching the sunset. "Dad, I married the wrong man," she said. I put my arm around her. "No, sweetheart. You just found out the right truth." And in that quiet evening glow, I realized sometimes the best revenge isn't anger. It's letting the mask fall and watching them choke on their own surprise.